Hello, all sentient beings, and welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk about news, comics, and media related to the... This week on Alt Mode, we have a review of Beast Wars number 7 from IDW Publishing, an on-site report from Rise of the Beasts, and more G1 episodes are on YouTube. Today is Friday, September 10th, 2021, and this is episode 250 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that never wins at Cyber Poker. I'm your host Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, how's it going?
Scott, the illustrious Dr. Pants.
Hello, everyone.
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
The house always wins. Let's talk Transformers.
All right, as always, we start off the show by thanking our Donatreons, those lovely people who give us money on Patreon and PayPal. Thank you so much for continuing to support the show. If you'd like to become a Donatreon, just go to transmissionspodcast.com/support. And a big thanks to our newest Donatreon, Craig Apex, who is now on the team. So thank you so much. Hopefully we'll see you over on Discord eventually and hanging out. You're much better than that other Craig. The Craig we don't talk about.
Yeah.
All right. Coming up next week, we've got episode 58 of Empire of Rust, our Transformers Live Play RPG podcast. The first and only Transformers Live Play RPG podcast. Episode 58 marks the start of season 2, and it's titled Sweet Wild of Mine. So I'm guessing it's going to be a Wild Strike focused episode, and this will be out on your on the main live Empire of Rust feed Monday, September 13th. So this Monday. If you are not subscribed to the main Transmissions feed, you can subscribe to Empire of Rust individually at transmissionspodcast.com/rust.
Would this episode be a good jumping on point for someone?
I think so.
Okay.
So jump on, jump away. Start of season 2.
I keep meaning to, but I was always kind of overwhelmed. And if this is season 2, maybe I can start and not feel so terrible.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a new chapter. The all the plot threads of season 1 have kind of wrapped up. The player characters are now kind of well-known heroes of Cybertron, so they've got a little bit more notoriety and fame. So I think that enables them to do a little bit more interesting adventures. So yeah, Dr. Pants, I'd give it my highest recommendation. So check it out.
Cool. I will do that this week then.
Can we get Mike to do like a special summary of the last 57 episodes in like one 30-minute chunk? You just kind of do like a highlight reel so that we can all get caught up real quick.
Last time on Empire of Rust.
Well, Daryl, I think he's heard your suggestion, so we'll see.
Summarize the last 57 hours of Empire of Rust episodes.
Hours?
Hour-ish.
You're funny.
Wait, do you mean Mike doesn't keep to his own hour rule?
Well, they're usually around an hour. Sometimes they're actually less than an hour. Sometimes they're more, but they're usually close to an hour. So that's probably not too far off.
There you go. 57 hours. There you summarize it in 1.5 hour show, and then I'll be caught up and I'll listen, Mike.
I'll just start from here. And I didn't know there was an hour rule, and I'm sorry, Mike, for every time I'm on the toy show.
It's more of a guideline, and yeah, I like to break it.
Daryl doesn't do any editing.
I do the video.
He still doesn't do any editing.
Oh.
I think specifically in this week's video, he says that he is not cutting something.
He's not wrong.
All right, well, let's start off the show. We don't have any comics news, so we're going to jump right into our comic review. And let me interrupt Charles from the past to give us a late-breaking news update. So after we recorded this episode of Alt Mode this week, we got some news about the Transformers G1 chess set. So we mentioned that Kickstarter and how that they're trying to get enough support to to produce these massive chess set pieces. It's a really cool project, and they are sweetening the pot. They're adding a few more tiers, and this is just being announced today on as we publish this on September 10th. They've got new $100 tiers, which include the pin badge set, the Optimus Prime chess figure, and the art book that they were including in the whole set. So if you just want the G1 book, the pin set, and the Optimus Prime figure together, that will be a $100 tier. And then there's two $300 tiers, which will allow people to get just a set of Autobots or just a set of Decepticons. So, if you want to just use the figures as nice, cool display pieces. And they said this was a response to some of the people interested in this in the Kickstarter were interested in just getting either Autobots or Decepticons. So, thought that was an interesting addition. So,
I think this sounds like you had direct influence on this Kickstarter, Charles.
Well, I mean, if you go back and listen to the interview, I think I did mention that I was interested particularly in the G1 book, the book detailing with all the character profiles that they mentioned for all the characters in the chess set, and I thought that it would be cool to have that book by itself, and it looks like they're creating a tier just for that. So
I think that's very smart.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the Optimus Prime, which is $50 by itself, and then the book, and then throw in the pin. I think that's well worth $100.
Yeah, for sure.
So hopefully that'll get some more get some more support, get some more backers for the Kickstarter. It's still going on. They've got about 2 more weeks left in the Kickstarter campaign. So if this entices you to take a second look, please go check it out. Again, it's at herocollector.com/transformerschess, and we'll have a link in the show notes, so you can go right there and check it out and consider backing it. Yeah, we're like I said, we're pulling for them, so we want to help them get it made. So check it out.
It's a long road getting from there to here, but I think it's an awesome looking set.
Yeah,
it is. And Charles is committed now. I mean, he made them change their whole Kickstarter setup. So he's got to get in on it now.
Well, he's already got the Optimus Prime, though.
Right, exactly. So he'd have to just give away the second one to a very close personal friend who happens to be on a podcast with him.
I don't know anybody.
I know what you're talking about, Daryl, but I've already pledged $50, so if it's fun, I'm okay.
Well, that's great. So I could be the one.
Oh, hey, that's a great idea.
Oh, wait, Dr. Pants is on the show, right? Maybe he wants one.
Who?
Dr. Pants? Speak up if you want it. See, he's okay with me getting it. That's cool. Right on.
All right. Well, good luck to our friends at Hero Collector, and check out the Kickstarter. And we now return you to our regularly scheduled Transmissions Alt Mode, where we're doing a cool comic review. And this week we are reviewing Transformers Beast Wars issue number 7, Pod Part 1. Written by Eric Burnham, art by Winston Chan, known Transmissions fan, Winston Chan. Colors by Sid Venblue. Letters by Jake M. Wood, assistant editor Riley Farmer, editor Jasmine Joyner, and supervising editor David Marriott. We've got 3 covers. Cover A is Black Arachnia in the background over Dinobot and Nyx, and this is by Fico Asio with colors by Luis Antonio Delgado. Cover B is Megatron smiling at his reflection in the golden disc, and that's by Ed Peary. And then the retailer incentive cover is the Maximals in a Black Arachnia silhouette, and that's by Gavin Guidry with colors by Leonardo Ito. So, Daryl, which cover would you pick here out of these 3?
I think I I really wanted to get cover A, but when my when I got to my shop, they didn't have any left. So I took the next best thing, which was the cover B. And I do like cover B quite a lot, but I really was hoping to get the Fico Osseo cover A.
All right. Dr. Pants, which cover do you like?
Cover A, definitely. I think that looks absolutely fantastic. I don't even know what else to say about it. I just think it looks really, really good. I love all the detail and everything here, all the little spiders crawling around, and Black Arachnia looming in the background. It just looks really, really cool. I do want to say there is something about the retailer incentive cover I do like. I think it might be the fact that all the faces look very, very Beast Wars Generation 1 accurate, but...
That's G1 Beast War.
Yeah, G1 Beast War.
It's singular.
Oh, okay. Just that one Beast War. Just the one. But cover A, I definitely like that the most.
All right, Jeremy, which one will you pick?
I am also saying cover A. I think it's creepy and really cool. Great introduction to Black Arachnia.
All right, I will make it unanimous and also pick cover A. Yeah, I definitely think that's the best of the three here.
I like it how her legs kind of blend in with the trees and actually become some of the stumps, like the trunks there. Mm-hmm. It's really well done.
Oh, yeah.
I also like the little, she looks like she's got some little Black Widow minion spiders down there who are like she's the queen of the spiders here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's get into the story. As a team-building activity to get Dinobot integrated into the Maximal crew, Optimus Primal invites him to a friendly sparring match. Dinobot is hesitant to participate, but Optimus Primal insists it will be fun. As they trade blows, Optimus asks how Dinobot is getting along with the other Maximals. Dinobot isn't really interested in being social, but he is amused by the belligerence of Rat Trap. Optimus Primal teases Dinobot that he's not so sure Dinobot could take even Rat Trap in a fight. Questioning Dinobot's warrior prowess is the easiest way to push his buttons, and that enrages the former Predacon. Dinobot quickly transforms to beast mode and attacks Primal with raptor teeth and claws. Optimus Primal is eager for a good fight and transforms to his gorilla mode to counter Dinobot's savagery. Both beast bots get some good shots in, but ultimately the fight is too much for Dinobot's injuries from Tarantulas' previous attack. Dinobot's bloodlust has abated, and he transforms back to bot mode as he struggles to stand. Optimus Primal helps him up and escorts him to the med bay for a checkup and CR chamber treatment. Optimus and Dinobot continue their banter as their conversation turns to discussion of the Predacons. Optimus assures Dinobot they're safe for the time being since their ship's shields have been recalibrated to recognize Dinobot as a crew member while still keeping all the Predacons out. But Dinobot warns Optimus not to underestimate the Predacons as they can exploit any advantage. Meanwhile, on the Predacon ship, the Dark Side, Megatron continues to trying to decipher the golden disc they stole. He makes a little bit of progress and sees part of a message that appears to be from Megatron himself. It appears to be a warning for using the transwarp drive, but the message is cut short before the rest is corrupted. Megatron loses his patience and has a meltdown in his private chambers. Elsewhere in the ship, other Predacons listen to Megatron's rage with concern. Terrorsaur is ready to pull a Starscream and declare Megatron unfit for command so he can take over. But Scorponok is still loyal and doesn't like Terrorsaur's tone. To make sure the Predacons remain occupied and focused on the mission rather than overthrowing Megatron, Scorponok orders Terrorsaur and Waspinator to accompany him on an Energon run to resupply. Scold wants to come too, but Scorponok orders her to stay behind and guard the ship. Scold protests, but Terrorsaur tells her she's too slow to come along. And not in body, but in mind. He flies off laughing at her expense. As Terrorsaur and Waspinator fly to a floating island in the sky teeming with Energon, Waspinator asks why Terrorsaur insulted Scold so openly, especially since she's strong enough to break him in half. Terrorsaur answers back that he's just manipulating her insecurities to keep her in her place. If she did find confidence in her abilities, she'd be a real threat to his plans for leadership. But Waspinator warns he could push her too far. Cut to one of the Maximal protoform stasis pods high in orbit around the planet. The pod receives a transmission containing a software update. but the transmission is incomplete, so the pod computer system decides to land on the planet to complete the update. The pod lands and scans a local life form to bring the Maximal protoform online. The pod opens and out steps brand new Maximal, Black Arachnia. Black Arachnia is born with her basic Maximal Explorer programming, but that software update has fully downloaded. But it will take a couple cycles to install. So Black Arachnia decides to find her fellow Maximals in their nearby ship. After running afoul of a local crocodile predator, she easily dispatches the animal and continues to follow a signal to the Maximal ship. Her internal diagnostic says she isn't damaged, but she might need a more thorough scan. She transforms to spider mode to protect herself from the planet's energon radiation and continues to the Maximal ship and her new home. Back on the Axelon, the Maximals are having a friendly game of cyber poker. Dinobot dishes on all the Predacons, listing their strengths and weaknesses. Unbeknownst to the Maximals, Black Arachnia arrives at the Axelon's front doorstep. She is concerned with the ship's force field, but her computer tells her it's standard security that won't affect her since she's a Maximal. And the computer is right. She passes through the force field with no problem. She's entered the ship and wonders why her Maximal teammates haven't come to greet her. But just before she can introduce herself, that software update finishes installing. And it wasn't just a regular maintenance patch. It was Tarantula's malicious Predacon shell program software, and instantly turns Black Arachnia from a curious Maximal into a devious Predacon. Now aware that she is definitely not a Maximal, she does not make her presence known. She plans to take advantage of her infiltration of the ship to do some damage on the inside. But she did not go completely undetected. Cheetor thinks he heard something and wants to go check it out. The other Maximals are skeptical, but Cheetor insists he heard something. The other Maximals let him go and keep playing. Cheetor is a bit annoyed that his friends didn't take him seriously, but he goes on alone anyway. He asks the ship's computer if any animals got onto the ship recently, and the computer responds in the negative. So Cheetor asks the computer to clarify that nothing has come on board the ship recently. The computer also responds negative, which means someone is here. Cheetor looks up too late. Black Arachnia literally gets the jump on him. She attacks him quickly and fiercely. Cheetor thinks she's just a new Maximal with a programming glitch, but he doesn't understand he's facing a new Predacon who can't be reasoned with. He transforms to Cheetah mode to try and tackle her quickly to subdue her, but Black Arachnia is too fast. She uses her Cyber Venom gun to blast Cheetor and immobilize him. Before losing consciousness, Cheetor tries to contact the other Maximals to warn them, but he doesn't get the words out before Black Arachnia blasts him again. To be continued. So I thought this was a great introduction issue for Black Arachnia. I mean, it's something we really didn't see in the show was that, all the protoforms were Maximals originally. And it was interesting to see her come online as a Maximal before getting corrupted by Tarantulas' programming. And it was interesting to see her basically a switch flip and go from Maximal to Predacon that quickly. And just thought that was a nice little way to start the story. I like the little battle between Dinobot and Optimus Primal. That was a nice little, and especially in beast mode fights. That was pretty cool. I think the art style is really neat. Winston Chan definitely brings a more, I would say more quote unquote G1 Beast War style to the book, and all the characters look very much like their original representations on the cartoon. So it's cool. And it's his art is really nice, and I miss Josh Burcham, but I think Winston's art is it's very different, but also very it fits very well with the Beast Wars characters. So I think this was a great introductory issue for him. Looking forward to more that he has here. I think this is as a part one of a story. I think this was a nice little setup. And I'm interested to see where part two goes for Black Arachnia. So, Daryl, you are the biggest Beast Wars fan on the podcast, so I'm curious what your thoughts are on this book. I was being sarcastic, by the way, to all the listeners who didn't know if you're listening for the first time.
Right. Yes. No, I thought the book was entertaining enough. It definitely gave a really good kind of description and explanation of the origin of Black Arachnia and how the additional characters are going to be introduced to the series. I did kind of like that because, I really don't have a lot of background with Beast Wars and how they introduced all the irregular characters. I know that you've described it to me and I got that, but it's nice to kind of see it here. I did like the little battle between Black Arachnia and the alligator thing. It looks like an alligator, but it's not exactly. But yeah, so no, I liked that. It was pretty cool. I kind of wonder what, like, is the Tarantulas kind of mind screw, is that, fixable? Because, obviously, from different fictions, we see that Black Arachnia, she does kind of walk the line between Predacon and Maximal, but this is definitely, she starts off as a Maximal, then just, like you said, flicks a switch and she's a Predacon, and then can that be flicked back? Essentially, if some kind of programming did it, can it be undone? Is it possible to find that? Do they know that it's there? That's another thing. But I liked the kind of fight scene between her and Cheetor. It was good. And the big thing though is that it is a completely different art style, and I liked it. I liked it a lot, actually. I found it much more detailed, and yeah, I guess you would say it's a bit more G1-y. You could definitely see when Cheetor's in his beast mode that the individual hairs and stuff, it looks more textured, more furry, right, for his Cheetah mode. Yeah, I really liked the art style. Winston's a really talented artist, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of his art here in the book. It looks fantastic.
To answer your question, Daryl, that actually is dealt with in the original Beast Wars cartoon. So in season 3 of Beast Wars, they do address Black Arachnia having been corrupted by Tarantulas' programming, and they eventually she does switch sides. Not she doesn't, like, she basically she overcomes she still has her personality, but she basically decides for herself to work with the Maximals. Partly right. She has a romance with Silverbolt, who's another Maximal character. Yep. And partly it's I think one of the things that they mention in the cartoon is that the program this programming thing doesn't turn her into a, like, I guess,
a drone.
Like a mindless drone or something. It's more like it amps up her, I guess,
aggression,
like her aggression and self-centeredness. Like she's much more, she's much more looking out for herself. Like even as a Predacon, she's not particularly loyal to Megatron or Tarantulas. She's just kind of really looking out for herself.
Okay.
And that the same thing, they actually address it also because, in the Beast Wars cartoon, there's another episode where they managed to install that program on one of the already existing Maximals. So they actually corrupt Rhinox and turn him evil, and he joins the Predacons for an episode. And it, they say, well, when they turned him evil, it basically turned up his ambition. So he actually tried to take over the Predacons when he was a Predacon. Like he tried to overthrow Megatron as a Predacon. And it kind of just flips the opposite nature of your original personality.
Wasn't Black Arachnia a special case though in the Beast Wars cartoon, because doesn't Tarantula specifically program her to be like his ally and help him do his thing, whereas like all the other ones they programmed to just be Predacons?
Well, I think that was his original intention, but I don't think that actually, because I don't think she was ever really loyal to Tarantulas.
No. I'm just saying, like, I thought in general she was a special case that wasn't just programmed to be a Predacon. He added other things in there for his own sake, and it just didn't work.
I think the only thing was he added stuff to, like, the shell program that he installs adds stuff where if you try to disable it, it will destroy the mind of the person who it's installed in. So like when the Maximals tried to free her from that shell program, they had to like go into her system and try to disable it without killing her. And that was like that. It was one of the episodes where they basically upgraded her to a transmetal. You know, it was one of the reasons for getting a new Black Arachnia toy was where they used some other technology to upgrade her, and then that technology helped them defeat the shell program that Tarantulas had installed. But I think, yeah, Tarantulas, as like he was trying to build his own particular, like I think he when he originally got Black Arachnia, he specifically made her a spider because he wanted all the Predacon protoforms to be his minions or whatever. And however he did it, I guess it didn't work out quite the way he expected. But
spiders are scary, yo.
Spiders are cuddly. What are you talking about? I love spiders.
Anyway, I'm sure it's been a while since I watched the Beast Wars cartoon, so I might have gotten some things wrong. But I'm sure if listeners, any Beast Wars experts can write in and correct us. I'm sure there are people excited to get a chance to correct me. So anyway, Dr. Pants, what did you think of this issue?
It's Beast Wars. I loved it. Just keep giving me more of this. I'm so happy. This was a good issue. I've been eagerly awaiting when we would get like more of the characters, like the protoforms and everything showing up. I'm glad we're getting Black Arachnia because she's of course one of the big ones from the original series, and I think they did a really good job. I like how they tackled the whole thing of when a protoform would drop. They would always have an episode where everybody would scramble to get to it and who's going to get it and program it to their allegiance, blah blah blah. But Tarantulas kind of took care of that, and now we can see something different. And I kind of liked seeing that and how the code got embedded in her and then flipped the switch. So that was a really cool intro to her character. And I'm just happy to see her there. I like the Dinobot Optimus Primal fight in the beginning. That was really, really cool. I kind of like their exchange there. And I can't wait to see more of their interactions and how that relationship grows in this. I love Pterosaur being a jerk. I mean, I hate him. I absolutely hate him. But he's well done. So I love him. But I hate him. I'm also waiting to see Skuld's story. We kind of got some of Nyx's in the beginning. She played a kind of a big part in bringing Dinobot on. I now want to see Skuld. She's this new character. I want to see where her story goes. And, screw Pterosaur for being a jerk to her and playing mind games. What a dick. I don't know what else to say. I will say this about the art. It's good art, but I really miss Josh Bertram's. I really fell in love with that art style for this series, and Winston does a good job. He's very, very expressive, and I can say it's good art, but I prefer Josh Bertram's on the book, and I'm a little sad it's not still that art. That's personal preference. There's nothing wrong with this. It's just not my style.
Yeah, fair enough. And I mean, it might be that we'll be switching artists like every story arc. I don't know if maybe Winston will only be on here 6 issues, and then they'll switch maybe back to Josh or to another artist. I don't know.
I mean, that would be interesting and kind of be really cool, especially when they release it in graphic novel style, that every artist is has their own graphic novel or a trade that they collected it in. But yeah, like I said, Winston does good stuff. It's just, I love the expressiveness. I really love that Josh Bertram style for something. It tickled me the right way.
All right, Jeremy, what did you think of this issue?
I really enjoyed the story too. I was just, as you guys were talking about the Black Arachnia stuff, I started thinking in the years between 96 when Beast Wars came out and now, wireless communications has expanded so much. It makes sense that in the 90s you would want to get to the protoform and then reprogram it right there, whereas now it makes sense for Tarantulas to send the signal up to the protoform in space and control it from the ground. And I think that's a smart way of doing it, and having Black Arachnia, find her way on her own. And now she's inside the shield. So I really like that. And I also, the Dinobot stuff, Dinobot finding his way, figuring out who he is now. I think it's going to be a nice little subplot for the next issue or so. I mean, I'm not sure when he's going to finally kind of become, feel like he's a full-fledged member of the team, but I like how they're treating him and building rapport with Primal. the Megatron little bit. It's a neat twist on the golden disc where he's seeing himself rather than G1 Megatron. Kind of I'm wondering where that's going. It'll be really interesting to see how that pans out. And yeah, I agree with Dr. Pants. Scorpion or Pterosaur is just a dick. I didn't really like him in the show, and don't really like him here. And by design, I'm curious as to what's going to happen with Scold, because we didn't get any real development in that first arc. So I'm hoping that we get something here. I'm kind of feeling like they're going to have Scold join the Maximals, but I don't know if you would do that having had Dinobot already defect. But it's interesting. Maybe Tarantulas will reprogram her. I don't know. It's Scold is an interesting character. I'm looking forward to seeing how she's developed.
I was kind of wondering the same thing about Scold joining the Maximals, and I just had the thought, since Tarantulas uploaded the code to all the pods, maybe we're just going to see the pods birth pretty much the Predacons from there, and we'll get more Maximals by having a bunch defect, because we also know, or we don't know, but Black Arachnia does defect eventually. So,
you're right.
Maybe Scold will. I don't know. Everything's different now.
I know. It's like Ultimate Beast Wars. The art I really did like. I think Winston's art is really clear. You can tell who's who. My biggest complaints are on the coloring, and it's not really all that much of a complaint. It's just the coloring to me feels like the early Marvel UK stuff, like that Man of Iron. I mean, it's kind of had a painted look, and that's kind of where I see a lot of these panels. It kind of has a more painted feel. But I'm not sure if I like it or don't like it at this point. It's different. Like Dr. Pants said, it's, going from Josh to this, it's a shift. But the lines I thought were really good. I'm just going to have to see if I can, if the colors grow on me. But I mean, overall, I really enjoyed the book.
All right. Well, that is our review of Transformers Beast Wars issue number 7. So we will wrap it up here and move on to Transformers media news.
All right, in media news this week, not a whole hell of a lot. Only one thing, and that is that if you are still looking for a place to watch the G1 cartoon and you only know about YouTube, you're in luck. Because you can watch the season 2 of the G1 80s cartoon on the Hasbro Pulse YouTube channel. We talked about it, was it last week or the week before, that they added the season 1 of the G1 cartoon. Now they've added season 2. Season 2 was a whole shit ton of episodes, so you got a lot more to watch now if you made your way through those first 13. Yeah, look forward to season 3 and maybe season 4.
And then maybe G1 Beast War.
Maybe. But yeah.
I'll say this, I'm actually kind of happy to see it on YouTube because I like to watch stuff at lunch when I'm at work, and I can't get on 2B TV at work.
Oh.
It's blocked because of quote-unquote pirated content.
Oh.
2B is like a legit service.
I'm aware, but for some reason, my service at work, they block it because of that, so I can't access 2B.
Yeah, well.
2B or not 2B.
Exactly. So I may watch this now during lunch. It's been a while.
So yeah, that's it. That's it for media news. Just another way to watch the G1 cartoon if you are looking for it.
All right. Well, we will finish up the show with a little bit of feedback. And this comes in from Twitter from superstar artist and friend of the show, Andrew Griffith. So last week we talked about the filming in Peru of Rise of the Beasts, and Daryl speculated that since it's filming in Peru, we know someone in Peru, particularly Andrew Griffith, the artist who moved there a few years ago and is still living there. So Daryl asks, just speculate idly, if Andrew knew what was going on in the area and was aware of the filming, maybe even, went over to the set or something like that.
I thought that he was going to be in the movie because he's got the dashing good looks of a movie star, right? That is what I said.
And yes, and apparently Andrew still listens to the show, because Andrew gave us a reply about this. And hopefully, I guess Daryl's hoping he's still listening because he threw that compliment there. Andrew answers on Twitter, currently the main square here in Cusco is set up to be cordoned off for filming. Saw some bad reporting on some of the Transformers sites lately, though. The article isn't saying that only 100 crew and 2 actors are coming to Peru. That's what they're limited to for Machu Picchu. So I guess if they're filming on location at Machu Picchu, the ruins in Peru, they are limiting the amount of people there, probably so that they don't damage the ruins. So that's where they're
Makes
limited.
sense.
Yeah, that's where they're limited to only 100 crew and 2 actors. But that's not for the entire country of Peru, that they can only have 100 crew and 2 actors there for filming the movie. So, So Andrew, our own direct source on the ground in the area, gives us some details. Gives us
Man in the streets.
So I mean, Andrew, if you've got more details about the filming there, or maybe you go be an extra or go get a part in the movie. Let us know what's going on.
Can we get him a press badge so he can go and interview people for it?
Yeah, take some video.
Sure,
go down to the
something
set. We'll get you an exclusive here on Transmissions. It's exactly what you wanted.
All right. Thanks, Andrew, for writing in, and thanks for continuing to listen. We appreciate it. So
yeah,
we'll have to get you back on the show very soon. All right. Well, that takes us to the end of this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. Again, we end every show by giving a shout out to our Masterpiece Donatrons. So thank you to John 4X Levengood, Dinobot Maximize, and Demon Tech 82. You guys are awesome, and thank you for contributing to the show at our highest level. If you want to buy some merchandise from Transmissions, go to our store, our TeePublic store at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. We've got shirts, masks, all sorts of stuff, all sorts of merchandise, and anything you buy from TeePublic through our link will help out the show. So transmissionspodcast.com/shop. Dr. Pants, thank you again for joining us this week. So tell everyone where they can find your awesome content online.
Well, thank you, Charles. You can find me and my friends doing everything at nerdstradamus.com. Most of our content goes onto the Nerdstradamus YouTube page, so check us out there. And seeing as this released on a Friday, if it's before 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can check out the YouTube channel where my co-host Lambo and I will be streaming some kind of gaming content. I don't remember what we said we were going to stream, but check it out. It will be something classic, and you can chat with us and give us suggestions on what we should play.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Later.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Transmissions. If you'd like to join the conversation, travel to our Discord channel at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. Want some cool Transmission swag? Feast your eyes on our Transmissions gear at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. If you'd like to support our podcast, go to transmissionspodcast.com/support or tell your friends about our show. We'll see you next time.
Now, do we have it?
Yes.
Just like before.
I was wondering why everyone wasn't saying anything.
I thought I did something wrong. I was like, oh crap, did I hit it too late? What happened?
No, that was all my fault. Oh well.